Hello everyone. Welcome back to the session of English. In this session, we are going to continue with our previous year questions of CLAT. In this session, we are going to discuss CLAT 2021. It means this is short question paper of English language of CLAT 2021. In this session, we are going to discuss those questions which have already appeared in CLAT examination of the year 2021. So this session is beneficial for all of those who want to take CLAT in their future as well as who have taken this examination. So let's begin with this session. In this session as well, we will discuss some questions based on passages. As you know, the pattern of CLAT now, that in these type of examination we face some passages, and or based on those passages we have several questions which we have to answer. So here again we'll see some passages. I think 6 passages are again there in this session. So one by one we'll discuss each and every passage. So let us first read the directions for the first question. Actually, these are the directions for all the 30 questions. In this session, we are going to discuss 30 questions of previous year exam of CLAT. So in this, each set of questions in this section is based on a single passage. It means again in this session we will have some passages. Maybe possible there are 6 passages. Please answer each question on the basis of what is stated or implied in the corresponding passage. It means there will be some passages. There are 6 passages in this session which we are going to discuss, but this paper will discuss in 2 parts. So in the part 1, first of all, we are going to discuss part 1, and in this part 1 we will be having 3 passages. We will be discussing 3 passages. Now in these 3 passages, each passage will contain several questions which we have to answer on the basis of the context of the passage. Okay, so we have to read the entire passage, and the questions that follows we have to answer them according to the context of the passage or what is given in the passage. In some instances, it means some examples of questions, more than one option may be the answer. It means may be possible that one question may have several options, and it can have several options as the answer. It means our answer can be more than one or two option as well to the question. In such a case, please choose the option that most accurately and comprehensively answer the question. Now, it is possible that after reading the passage, we can conclude that these two can be the answers, but you have to look for the accurate option which can be the answer of that particular question. So let's begin this session. First of all, we'll read the entire passage. We'll try to figure out the meaning of that passage. We will try to analyze the meaning of that particular passage. And after that, we'll discuss each and every question in detail. Now, what we can do when we do passages, we have two choices: either to read the entire passage or to just jump at the questions and try to relate those questions with the passage, try to relate the keywords, try to just read that particular part, just go through the part of the passage, and you will get the answer, or you may get the answer. But because in this session we are discussing these questions, so first of all we'll read the entire passage, and after that we'll try to solve the questions. Okay, so let us read the passage number 1. So first of all we'll read passage number 1. Now, what is there in passage number 1? First of all, we'll read the entire passage, and after that, we'll try to do the questions based on this passage. Now, this passage is going to be very, very interesting. How? Because this is an extract from a scandal in Bohemia by Arthur Conan Doyle. It means Arthur Conan Doyle is a book, and from that particular book, this extract has been taken. Okay. I rang the doorbell and was shown up to the chamber, which had formerly been in part my own. Now, here I refers to the author. It means some author is there who is narrating his story, or who is telling these points. That I rang the doorbell. It means he rang the doorbell and was shown up. Shown up is actually when someone goes to some place unexpectedly or maybe late. Okay, if a person goes to any place and he's unexpected or is late, that means that he has shown up over there. Okay, so shown up to the chamber is a kind of place where which had formerly means previously been in part of my own. It means he has lived in that particular place. Okay, it means previously that place belonged to him. With hardly a word is spoken, it means he did not speak a word even. Sherlock Holmes, now you must have heard this word. This is really a most famous word, most popular word about a detective. Okay, so Sherlock Holmes was a detective who waved me to an armchair. It means showed he indicated the armchair, or he showed the armchair to the author. It means he told, I think, the author to be there in the armchair, or to be seated in the armchair. Now armchair means a chair which has arms in which we can sit comfortably. If you have seen any chair, maybe possible it has handles or the arms, maybe possible it has not. Now whenever we sit in the armchair, we use I'm sitting in the armchair. But if there is a seat without arms, we can say that I'm sitting on the chair. Okay, so in the chair, on the chair, uh, are different expressions, or the different prepositions that can be used according to the shape of the chair. If it has arms, we have to use in the armchair, and if it does not have arms, we can say on the chair. Okay, then he stood before the fire. Okay, there is a fireplace, so he was standing beside that and looked me over a singular introspective fashion. Now, the singular introspective fashion is possibly the style of that particular detective to investigate. You know well that each and every officer, each and every investigator, each and every detective, he may has his own style of investigating the facts. Okay, so in his singular introspective fashion means in the singular style which he used to uh, you can say execute on all the people whom he investigates. Okay, then how do you know? Okay, Watson, so maybe possible the author's name is Watson. You did not tell me that you intended to go into harness. Go into harness means uh, on duty. Okay, when someone is at his workplace or on duty, it means he is into his harness. Okay, for example, if you are a policeman and you are on duty that day, it means you are into an harness. Okay, then how do you know? It means uh, Sherlock Holmes, he was trying to investigate, or to investigate some case, and for that he had interrogated this author, and the author's name is Watson. Okay, as we can analyze it from this line. I see it. I deduce it. It means he said that you can say he inferred. Deduce means to infer, or to came to a conclusion. Okay, so I see it or I deduce it. Maybe possible he was the witness, and I deduce it means possibly he inferred it, he concluded it. Maybe there was some case for which he was questioning him, and maybe possible the Watson was the witness, therefore he said that I deduce it. Because as he went to his job, so here the Sherlock Holmes is trying to know that if he was at his job, how did he know about that particular situation, what had happened over there. So he said I see it or I deduce it, means he has concluded. How do I know that you have been getting yourself very wet lately? That you have a most clumsy and careless servant girl? It means he's asking about a servant girl uh, of Watson, that she is very clumsy and careless. Clumsy means looking awkward. Okay, my dear Holmes, said I, this is too much. It is true that I had a country walk. It means he went for a country walk on Thursday and came home in dreadful mess. Dreadful mess means when someone is not in proper dressed, when proper dress, or when you can say that he was not looking very good, he was looking bad, he was looking clumsy, maybe possible at that day. But as I've changed my clothes, I can't imagine how you deduce it. As to Mary Jane, she's incorrigible. Incorrigible means which cannot be changed, which cannot be corrected, which cannot be cured. Maybe possible if it is. If this word has been said for a person, it means that person is, you can say, consistent. You cannot improve that particular person if he is incorrigible. So she is incorrigible. He means to say that she is unchangeable, or it means that she does not get improved anyhow. But there again, I fail to see how you work it out. It is simplicity itself, said he. My eyes tell me that on the inside of your left shoe, just where the firelight strikes it. Firelight means the splash of the light. Okay, the fire was there, and the light of that fire was striking at the leather shoe, or the corner of it. The leather is scored by six almost parallel cuts. It means the shoes, or the shoe which he was wearing has some cuts over it. Okay, obviously, they have been caused by someone who has very carelessly scared around the edges of sole in order to remove crusted mud from it. Now, if one tries to just improve the mud or just to clean the shoes, maybe possible, someone has just in order to clean the mud from the shoes, he must have scratched the that shoe, or you can say he must have, you can say that, cleaned it in such a manner that has damaged the shoe. Okay, hence how you see my double deduction. It means my double conclusion that you had been out in wild weather. It means that you were there in wild weather, means bad weather. Wild means very bad weather, maybe stormy, maybe rainy, and you had particularly a maglant boot slitting. Boot slitting means cut on the boot. A specimen to London slavely. Slavey means slave or the servant, maid servant. So uh, your shoes has been cleaned by your servant, which is carelessly done. In fiction, detectives like Holmes are usually portrayed as people with exceptionally brilliant minds. So he accepted this fact that Holmes usually portrayed a people exceptionally brilliant mind. That he accepted that detectives like Holmes was a very good detective. He was actually an exceptionally brilliant mind. They possess the real skill to see and analyze what ordinary people can't. It means he can analyze that particular situation which goes beyond to the perception of people, normal people can do. Okay, so he was just a brilliant detective. They have incredible abilities to infer, deduce, and induce and conclude. It means he praised over here Sherlock Holmes that he was a detective which has incredible mind, abilities to infer anything, deduce and induce and conclude. It means which can conclude the facts. Okay, so he just praised Detective Sherlock Holmes over here. Then there is a G.K. Chesterton's fictional Catholic priest, Father Brown, who relies on his extraordinary power of sympathy and empathy that enable him to imagine and feel as criminals do. It means now he's praising or talking about some another detective. Who is a fictional Catholic priest. He used to just show empathy or sympathy and try to think uh, as the criminals do. Okay, he explains, I had thought out exactly how a thing like that could be done, and in what a style or a state of mind a man could really do it. And when I was quite sure that I felt exactly like the murderer myself, of course, I knew who he was. Now, it was the style of another person or another detective that he used to uh, state himself as the criminal. He used to think according to the criminal, and uh, he thought that what was the criminal's perception at the time of crime. So in that manner, he feel that he himself is a murderer, and in that manner or in that style he used to detect who is actually the criminal. Okay, so that was his style of investigating the cases. Sherlock finds the criminal by starting from the outside. Okay, so criminal by starting from the outside, it means he does not capture the criminal. In fact, he just uh, try to see the out things of the criminal, the outers of the criminals, and by that manner he used to detect the criminals. But well, these are the styles, different styles of different criminal sorry different detectives who investigate the cases and try to find out the criminals. So these are the styles which have been stated over here. He relies on science, experimental methods, and deduction. So he has talked about Sherlock Holmes, that his style of investigating the cases, that he relies means depend. He depend on science, the experimental methods, and deduction. Okay, and he follows these type of methods to investigate a case. On the contrary means different from this, or on the other hand of this, Father Brown was just of the different or the opposite style of what Sherlock Holmes had. Uses varied psychological experiences, so uh, he used to investigate with the help of varied psychological experiences, learn from those who make confessions to crime to him. He relies on introspection, intuition, and empathy. Okay, so these are two different detectives which had different styles of investigating the case, where Sherlock Holmes relied on science, experimental methods, and deduction, uh, whereas Father Brown, he was a detective who used the psychological experiences, learn from those, make confessions, and introspection, intuition, and empathy. So there are two different styles of two different detectives. Okay, that has been mentioned over here. There is yet another set of detectives. It means they are talking about some more detectives whose style are different, like those created by writers like Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie um, is an author, also, and also a detective. Her Belgian detective. So Belgian detective is actually a series by Agatha Christie. Okay, Hercule Poirot is a storyteller who draws information from the stories that others tell. So Agatha Christie, she was the writer and author. She wrote a story about a storyteller, Hercule Poirot. He was also a detective, and Belgian Detective was the series of novels of Hercule Poirot. Okay, draws information from the stories that others tell. He patiently listens to numerous accounts of what happened, where it happened, and how it happened. So, what he used to do, he used to listen to numerous accounts of people. He numerous accounts what had happened, and he used to maintain various accounts of where the thing had happened or where the crime had happened. He listens for credibility and ambiguity. It means he listened for all of them for his benefits, and ambiguity means to draw a double meaning or the double possible meanings from that particular. He used to draw some conclusions, the double conclusions that can occur. He identifies why and how the pieces of jigsaws. Now, jigsaws are actually the pieces. You can say the pieces of puzzle by which you can, if you connect all those jigsaws or the all those pieces, you can make a picture or the puzzle complete. So that is a kind of jigsaw. You must have seen that there are some images or there are some pieces like this, and these are actually the puzzles. And what we do, we actually join these puzzles to draw a picture. Okay, or to complete a picture. That is actually the jigsaw. Okay, so you can say it is a completed mysterious problem that can only be solved or explained by something or several pieces. Okay, jigsaws don't fit together. Ultimately, he uncovers the truth. Now, whenever these jigsaws they fit together, it means he has solved all the um he keeps on trying unless these jigsaws they fit together. Okay, and after that he uncovers the truth. It means he reveals the truth that yes, he is the culprit or the criminal. So in this session we have discussed about, sorry, in this passage we have discussed about different detectives and their styles of investigating a case. Okay, so in this we have seen Sherlock Holmes, in this we have seen another detective, that is Father Brown, and another detective, that is Hercule Poirot. Okay, so these are three different detectives and their different approaches of investigating a case. Okay, so this the passage is about the different types of different detectives and their styles of investigating a case. So this was really a nice paragraph. I think you, in fact, I hope that you like the passage. The passage is really good now, and we have already discussed the meaning of each and every word. I hope you have written the meaning of each and every word which is given in this passage. This will definitely help you out understand the entire paragraph, because this paragraph contains too many phrases or the idioms that are making this uh, passage which is completely different meaning. Okay, so I hope you have understood the meaning of the entire passage. Now it is time to discuss the questions based on this passage. Okay, so let me let us go to the questions now. So this is question number 1. From this passage it can be inferred that, now they are asking about that from the passage what you can infer or what you can conclude. Watson is Holmes' mentor. Earlier, Watson used to live with Holmes. Watson is a detective. Watson shares all his personal matters with Holmes. Now, if you see this, now let us see the first line. Watson is Holmes' mentor. We can see over here that I rang the doorbell and shown up to the chamber which had formerly been in my part of my own. It means a chamber which I used to live previously. Okay. Now it shows that Watson was the person who used to live with Holmes in past. Okay, also if you see this Sherlock Holmes, this is a detective and he is asking the questions to Watson. And if you see this one, according to this line, the answer is clear that earlier Watson used to live with Holmes. The first one is Watson is Holmes' mentor. No, Watson is actually the person who Holmes is investigating or inquiring or interrogating for the case. Okay, Watson is a detective. No, actually Sherlock Holmes was the detective, or you can say SH, Sherlock Holmes. Shares all his personal matters with Holmes. No, as you can see the lines here, it has been said that. That he has worked it out. It means he does not share anything because what had happened exactly he did not tell him. Okay, so according to this the correct answer will be B, that is earlier Watson used to live with Holmes. As you can see, it is directly given in this line which had formerly been in the part of my own. So this is according to this line, the first line, the very first line of the passage. It is inferred, it can be concluded that the correct answer is B, that earlier Watson used to live with Holmes. Okay, now let us move to the next one. It is evident that for solving case, Father Brown relies largely on. Now, as you can see it over here, that Father Brown he relies on extraordinary power of sympathy and empathy that enable him to imagine and feel as criminals too. So this is actually the state of mind for Father Brown, what he did to investigate the cases. Now let us see the question again. Now let us read the options. A option is his own sympathetic and empathic thought process about criminals. A sympathetic approach towards various people's opinion to case on the case to be solved. A detective analysis of the crime and his ability to sympathize. So I think because he had uh, used the same process, what criminal had felt while doing that crime. So according to this, A, his own sympathetic and empathic thought process about criminals. As you can see, it is given over here that Father Brown, who relies on an extraordinary power of sympathy and empathy that enable him to imagine um, and feel as criminals too. So he used to adopt this approach when when he solved the cases. Okay. Now if you see the second option, a sympathetic approach towards various people's opinion, no, he only had a sympathetic approach towards the criminals. Okay, just to see what is the state of mind of the criminal when he did that crime. Okay, or what was the state of mind of the criminal. A deductive analysis of the crime and his ability to sympathize? No, he did not sympathize. In fact, he sympathized only for his own credibility. Therefore, A is the correct answer, and the rest two options are incorrect. Therefore, A is the correct answer to this question. Now let us move to the next question for three detectives. So we have talked about three detectives over here. One is Sherlock Holmes, the other one is Father Brown, and the another one is Hercule Poirot. Mentioned in the passage, which one of these would be non-essential for solving criminal cases? It means for all the three people, which uh, part is here, which is not the uh, part of the styles of solving the cases in all the three cases: forgiving nature, sensitivity, critical thinking, patience. Now, as you can see over here, the qualities of these three, first of all, if we talk about Sherlock, he used to deduce. Okay, obviously, if we see this one, sensitivity, obviously, they must have sense only. After that, they can analyze the cases, they can think what can happen. Critical thinking, so yes, of course, critical thinking is the critic examination, when you are asking the questions, when you are just trying to know what had happened. So it is in the process of all the three. Obviously, patience, obviously they must have kept patience. Only after that they can go to the conclusion. They cannot be in hurry. They should be in a process which which can take a long time, so they have to keep patience. So here, according to this, only forgiving nature is the correct answer, because they did not have forgiving nature anyhow. So here the correct answer will be forgiving nature. So our answer will be A. Okay. None of them had forgiving nature for the criminals. They used to detect each and every criminal. Okay, and forgiving nature has not been mentioned over here. Therefore, obviously, if he's a detective, he will not forgive the criminals. He will make them in the prison. Okay, now let us move to the next one. This is the fourth question. In order to solve cases, point uses the art of dash and the that he has been told. Okay, narratives that he has been told. Building a fantasy based on, fantasy means imagination, or imaginative stories. Empathizing with all the characters in, creating new plots for, detecting and analyzing the missing links in. In order to solve cases, point uses the art of dash, the narratives that he has been told. Okay, art of detecting and analyzing the missing links in, because all the three, they were doing the same thing. They were detecting and analyzing the missing links in. Okay, so according to this, D will be the correct answer. Okay, because empathizing was done only by Father Brown. Building in a fantasy based on, that was only by Sherlock Holmes. Creating new plots, no one has done that. And detecting and analyzing the missing links, this is done by all the three. Therefore, D is the correct answer. Okay, now let us move to the next one. The next question is, the word incorrigible is the antonym. Antonym means opposite. So we have to tell that which is the opposite of the word incorrigible. Habitual, performable, repentant, or incurable. Now, incorrigible means which cannot be improved. Which cannot be improved. Okay, so if someone is incorrigible, it means he cannot be improved. Okay, now if this is like which cannot be improved, it means incurable. It means which cannot be incurred. This can be the synonym, not the antonym, but they are asking about the antonym or the opposite word. Repentant means when someone feels sorry. Okay, when someone feels sorry of something, sorry of something that he has done, or when he feels himself to be guilty. If a person feels himself to be guilty, it means he wants to improve himself. That is why this repentant can be the antonym of this word incorrigible. Therefore, this option C is the correct answer. Okay, because if a person feels sorry, if he feels guilty of himself, so he tries to improve himself. That is why repentant is the correct antonym or the opposite of the word incorrigible. Performable, it means who can perform. So that does not have any mean over here. Habitual means one who has habit of something. So incorrigible is consistent, that he cannot be improved. So that is repentant. Repentant can be the antonym of this word incorrigible. Okay, so here C is the correct answer. Now we have already done this first passage. I hope you have uh, understood this entire passage and the questions based on this passage. I hope you understood each and every question of this passage. Now we'll do passage number 2. Okay, so up to now we have already done all the questions of this passage number 1. Now it is time to discuss passage number 2. Again, we'll discuss the entire passage, we'll read the entire passage, we'll try to figure out the meaning of the particular passage of the passage number 2, and after that we'll discuss the questions which are followed. Okay, so now let us start reading the passage number 2. Now let us start reading this passage number 2. Since long means from a very long time. We have witnessed means seen. Unimaginable, it means that cannot be imagined. Levels of success or failure and failure of various companies, assesses scientific missions and even wars. For such triumphs means victories, and defeats means when someone loses. Okay, emerges the much debatable thought: is planning and strategy more important than execution? Now, planning means when we make plans for something to be done. Strategy means the process or the planning process. Or you can say the uh, format that we have made to execute several things. And execution means when we particularly make it happen. Okay. Some project leaders and their teams are of the view that planning leads to clarity of objectives. It helps to set the timeline and the budget. So some project leaders they think, or their teams, that uh, planning, if one plans anything, leads to clarity of objectives. It means they will clear the objectives that we need to do and for which we are doing something. It helps to set the timeline. If we plan something, that will make the timeline or the deadline. It will give us the deadline that by this time we have to complete this thing. And the budget, it means the money or the amount of money which is required in doing that particular thing or event. Consequently means as the result of, when the planning is haphazard. Haphazard means unorganized or unpleasant, which is not properly organized and unstructured. The very aims of the projects become hazy. It means the projects, uh, if the planning is not good, if it is disorganized, the aims that we will get, they will become hazy. It means they will become, uh, you can say, not clear or unclear. Hazy means unclear. Okay, so if the planning is not good, the events or the projects that will occur or that will happen, sorry, that will be happened, uh, that those will be uncertain, or you can say those will not be cleared. Okay, this further leads to unprecedented budget collapses. Unprecedented means unequal. Okay, budget collapses. It means the budget they will not meet, they will not match. Okay, whatever budget we have made, maybe possible it will be less according to the requirement. Poor time management, and the time management will also be poor. In some cases, teams have worked relentlessly, because some cases are there in which people or teams they work relentlessly means continue without stopping. Okay, they continue their work, they do hard work continuously without stopping to complete assignments, but poor planning is has invariably lead customers dissatisfaction, but that will not satisfy the customers, because the thing that they have done, though they have done it continuously, yet the thing that have been done or occurred is not good, or is not according to the requirement of the customers. It means whatever work they have done, it is not proper, or it is not good. Times a complete collapse of entire project. In the words of Benjamin Franklin, now a person Benjamin Franklin, he said, failing to plan is planning to fail. So this is really a very good thought, that if you fail to plan something, it means you are planning to fail. It means you will not succeed if you did not plan. Numerous entrepreneurs, it means there are many entrepreneurs, have the faith that strategies help to enhance not only speed and quality of production, but also the consumer satisfaction. So they also think the same thing, that if we make strategies, if we have strategies that will help in improving the production as well as the consumer satisfaction. Okay, if there are no strategies to tackle unplanned events or unexpected eruptions, there is a possibility of the entire projects coming to a grind halt. It means if we do not plan for future, if we do not plan for the things that can occur anytime that are unexpected, our project can come to a halt. It means stop. Grinding halt means stop. Okay, to sudden stop or sudden damage. Okay, it means if we are not prepared for the unexpected problems or interruptions or the disturbances, our project, the entire project can come to a halt. A grinding halt means a sudden stop of everything. Some of the world's best airports, bridges, and astronomical missions are the result of careful planning. Because there are some of the world's airports, best airports are there, bridges are there, astronomical missions are there, which are the result of careful planning. It means careful planning has been done before their execution, and excellent strategies. However, there are some architects, artists, and entrepreneurs who prefer to dive straight from the board of ideas into a pool of execution. But there are, if you see some airports, bridges, and astronomical missions, they were done with careful planning. But there are some other things as well, there that there are some architects, it means some monuments or buildings that have been made, artists, entrepreneurs, it means one who promotes the business, or one who you can say starts a business. Okay, they preferred to just dive straight away from the ideas to the execution. It means as they thought, as soon as they, as soon as some ideas came to their mind, they just executed them. They did not plan for them, they just executed them. That had also happened. They believe that suitable strategies are best shaped during these process of execution. So they said that these strategies will be made at the time of execution only. Great plans and strategies can fail while encountering unexpected situations. Because if unexpected situations arise, uh, the strategies, great plans and strategies, they can also be failed. Okay, so they were just of opposite approach. They preferred the execution and not the strategies. Okay, so they preferred execution, and they did not believe in planning and strategies. Why? Because there are several cases which need to be done on the random basis. You cannot take time, you don't have time even for them. There are various situations like natural calamities, there are various situations like warlike situations, or there are like many things that can happen in future that are unexpected, and that they can occur anytime if you and you are required to execute without planning as well. In fact, you face those situations as well, whereas there are several people who plan for the bad time as well. Okay, so there are two type of people, and both the people are good. Stove Jobs says, okay, this is I think Steve Jobs. So this is another name which is not written correctly over here. It is S capital. Okay. To me, ideas are worth nothing unless executed. So he said he thought that if we are making ideas, they are nothing if we do not execute them. It means though he supported ideas to be made, but he said if we are just making ideas and we are not executing that, those ideas will be worthless. Okay, they are just multiplier. Execution is worth millions. Now if we only think and think and think, it means we will thinking and thinking so on. But if we are not executing, that means whatever we are thinking is just worthless. Okay, but if we execute something, that is worth a million. For example, suppose you are just planning, you are a student and you are planning that I will do this course, I will do this course, I will do this course, and after that I will get this job, and after that I will get this job. But as the time passes, you are just planning to do these courses, but you are not really doing these courses. It means if you are just thinking, if you are just planning to do these courses, that will make nothing, because if you are not doing that course, that will not make you in a particular job. Okay, so it is just like you are making the castles in the air. Okay, so those will be worthless or useless. But if you execute them accordingly or respectively, you will definitely get the results. Okay, according to Bill Gates, now Bill Gates, we all know that he is the richest person in the world. Unhappy customers are the greatest source of learning. It means he said that unhappy customers, it means if the customers are not satisfied, um, it means those type of customers, they are the best instigators or the motivators, because through them only we can learn new things, because they will tell us the new approaches, they will tell us the new requirements, and you will be motivated to make something new. Okay, just to anyhow satisfy that type of customer. Fickle minded, it means whose minded are not certain, whose minds are not certain. It means sometimes they think yes it is fine, sometimes they say no, that is this is not good. So these are fickle minded consumers. It means those consumers who are not on a single point, they worry in their approaches. And wavering market trends can mar projects. Mar means spoil. Okay, they can spoil the projects that stand on fixed plans. It is the need based, flexible, and innovative strategies that help to withstand the impact of vacillating desires and trends. It means only those things. For example, uh, you can stand on a particular point, you can achieve a particular position only with the impact of these vacillating desires and trends. Vacillating means when you are just facing the requirements of a person which are uh, you can say to just satisfy them. After rigorous planning, rigorous means careful or diligent. Okay, when you plan for something carefully, after the careful planning and testing new recipe on 2 lakh consumers in 1985, the company Coke brought out the new Coke. Now what happened after the rigorous planning means careful planning? What happened? uh, Coke, you must have known about the Coke. You all must know about Coke. So Coke is a company, after planning and tasting a new recipe on 2 lakh consumers. It means they surveyed from 2 lakh consumers around in 1985, in the year 1985. The company launched a new product, that is the new Coke, much to the company's dismay. Dismay means you can say their disappointment, because they did not get result according to their uh, deservance or according to their thinking. Okay, so they thought that this will definitely make them profit, make them highly profitable. But that becomes the company's dismay. It means they disappoint, that act disappointed the company. Why so? The product did not take off as expected, as the financial loss was enormous. It means people did not like that particular new product as they thought they will. And the loss, the financial loss that they had faced was enormous. It means it was very big. So they faced a huge loss. The company realized that during the process of data collection, it had not considered the protect loyalty and old fashioned habits of the consumers. It means when they were planning, they did not think about the product loyalty and also the consumers changing fashion or trend or changing taste. Hence, a balance of pragmatic planning. Pragmatic means practical planning. Effective strategies and efficient execution is likely to ensure the accomplishment of tasks at each stage of a project. It means uh, it is not that we should plan and plan and plan and make the entire strategy, but the proper strategy is worth, but worthless if we are just planning according to our own style and we are not making the changes. We are not changing the strategies or the planning according to the time situation or the requirement. Okay, so we need to check the task of each stage, that these need something different. Successful execution is not an easy journey. The road is widening and bumpy. Road means this they are not talking about road. In fact, this is like a metaphor because they are talking about successful execution. It means the way of this execution, it is not an easy journey. It is like a road which is bumpy and widening. Widening and bumpy means a road which has twists and turns, which has many twists and turns. That is a widening and bumpy road. Okay, it may require tweaking. Tweaking means slight changes, or at times of abandoning the original plan and redesigning it. So maybe possible it needs to have some slight changes. It need to have another plan or the new plan or the redesigning of the format. Often we turn to nature for inspiration. Think plans and strategies are the seed, execution is the nourishment, and consumer is the capricious weather. Now, capricious weather means a person who can change his mood or behavior suddenly. So, capricious weather is actually a metaphor for those type of consumers who can change, who can change their mood and behavior, uh, change their mood and behavior suddenly. Okay, so this is a metaphor for those but people change their mood and behavior suddenly. So we have talked about those consumers over here. Okay, so this is behavior suddenly. Okay, so here we are talking about those type of people or consumers. Okay, so I hope you have understood the meaning of this entire paragraph. They have said that strategies and plan are the seed, execution is the nourishment, it means that will grow the plant, and consumer satisfaction is the capricious weather. uh, it means it is something which is required, the changeable of anything. Okay, it means that can face the changing of anything. Okay, so these are the particular things in the process of doing or making any act. Okay, so I hope you have understood the meaning of the entire paragraph. So now let us start doing the questions based on this passage. So the passage can be termed as, now how can you define this passage? Expository, descriptive, abstract, or narrative. Now these are actually four genres of fiction or non-fiction writing. You can say literature. Now literature can be divided on in two types: fiction and non-fiction. Fiction and non-fiction, first of all, let us try to understand the difference between fiction and non-fiction. Fiction is basically when you talk about something which is not real, which is not real, it is just imagination. So fiction are those type of situations which are just imaginary and these are not real, whereas non-fiction are real or true based stories. For example, if you talk about um some biographies or autobiographies, these are non-fictions. Okay, but if you talk about any novels, like any novels like you must have seen Harry Potter, which are just full of uh, magics and all, that is non that is fiction. Okay, that contains only those type of characters which are not real, which are imaginary. So fiction is imaginary, whereas non-fiction is true based stories. Now if we talk about expository is actually non-fiction, uh, which refers to something that describes the facts. Okay, when something in which describes in which facts have been described, uh, in which facts have been described. So that is called expository. Descriptive, it means when we are describing something. For example, there is a picture and we are making picture composition of it, that is descriptive. Narrative means when someone is telling the story of a particular person, that is narrative. Okay, for example, once upon a time there a cat was living over there. So this is a kind of a storytelling, and that is narrative. Okay, abstract means when something is not which cannot be touched, which cannot be seen, which can only be felt. So that is abstract, only for the emotions. So according to this, as we have seen in this story, that we have talked about some facts, that about execution and planning. They have not here the author is not actually writing the story of someone. In fact, he is drawing some facts about strategy and planning only. So according to that, the story, this passage is expository in nature because it is describing the facts, that how can you compare the strategy and execution. Okay, so according to this, the correct answer is A, that this entire passage is expository. Okay, now let us move to the next one. The next question is, the author's main purpose is to. So what is the author's main purpose? Suggest that people succeed only when they have great strategies. So here, according to author, is he trying to say that people succeed only when they have strategies? Okay, highlight the fact that the execution is an indispensable as planning and strategy. Indispensable means essential, or the most important requirement, or absolutely necessary. Okay, essential. Now, if we see the first line, that is suggests that people succeed only when they have strategies. If we go back to the passage, we can find that in case of Coke, though there was planning, there was a strategy, yet the people were not succeeded. Okay, it means were not succeeded. It means the first statement is incorrect according to the passage. The second one is highlight the fact that the execution is essential as planning and strategy. It means execution is equally important as planning and strategy. It means you need to do execution, otherwise your planning is worthless. Okay, as it is suggested in the passage. Illustrate the impact of poor planning and weak strategy. No, they are not illustrating anything. They are not making that you how you should make proper planning. There are many people who just execute the things and they do not plan for them. For example, they have talked about the entrepreneurs who just dive from the pool of ideas to the pool of execution. Okay, so according to that, this C point is incorrect. Highlight the hurdles that come in the way of execution. Now, they are not saying us the hurdles, they are not telling us about the hurdles. In fact, they are talking about they are making the comparison between the execution and the strategy and planning, and they are saying that both of these things are equally important. As in the last sentence, they have said that the strategies are seed, whereas execution is the nourishment. So according to this, the correct answer will be B, that they highlighted the fact that the execution is as important as uh, planning and strategy. So according to this, the correct answer will be point B. I hope you have understood this question. Now let us move to the next question. This is question number from 8. Question number 8. From the failure of new Coke, the company learned that, as we have discussed it in this line, that there was a dismay to the company because they have failed in this. Now what they have learned from this: tested and tried strategies are essential for success. Surveys and data calibration are a sheer waste of time. Sheer means absolute, or you can say utter, complete waste of time, you can say. Okay, Consumers change brand preferences too frequently. Changes in consumers' habits should not be taken for granted. Now, if you see this one, this line that is written over here, that Coke brought new Coke, much of the company's dismay, the product did not take off as expected. Financial loss was enormous. The company realized, now what they have realized, that during the process of data collection, it had not considered that the product loyalty and the old-fashioned habits of consumers. It means hence a balance of pragmatic planning, effective strategies, and efficient execution is likely to ensure accomplishment of task at each stage and project. Okay, so according to this line, it can be said that the changing habit of the people, it means changes in consumers' habit should not be taken for granted. It means it should not be taken in light. It should not be taken lightly. Okay, because they are not saying that collecting the data is a waste of time. You should collect the data, but that should be the proper data collection. Okay, tested and tried strategies are essential for success. Now, as they have seen that tested and tried strategies, they also failed just because they did not consider the changes of the consumer's mind and fashion. So according to this, D option is correct. It means changes in consumers habit, it should not be taken for granted. It means it should not be taken lightly. Okay, taken for granted means to take something, to value something lightly. Okay, value something lightly. So according to this, the correct answer will be option number D. Okay, so our correct answer will be D. Now let us move to the next one. Now let us see which is the next question. For the accomplishment of a project, accomplishment of a project means the finishing of the project, Steve Jobs, so this S should be capital. Okay, here it should be Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is the name of a person. Okay, for the accomplishment of a project, what does Steve Jobs think? Propagates an approach that is similar to Benjamin Franklin's, suggest an approach that is different from Benjamin Franklin's. Now let us see the approaches of these two people. If you see about Benjamin Franklin, he said that failing to plan is planning to fail. It means he uh, he said that planning should be done before anything, because planning is the most important thing. Whereas Steve Jobs, here this is Steve, he said that to me ideas are worth nothing unless executed. It means he is of the another approach as that of Benjamin Franklin. So they both uh, things, you can say differently, or they both things in the opposite style of each other. Okay, so according to this, they were different from Benjamin Franklin. Believes that the main control is in the hand of consumers. No, actually, he thought about the execution of something. He did not say anything about consumers. Therefore, according to this, B will be the correct answer. That he suggests an approach that is different from Benjamin's Franklin. Benjamin he gave the priority to the planning, whereas Steve Jobs, you can say he gave the approach for he made the priority, he gave the priority to execution. However, both of them were same in one approach, that planning and execution both are necessary. Only planning will not do anything, only execution will not do anything. Both the things together will make something better. Okay, so this will be the correct answer, that is B. Now let us move to the next question. The dash is consumers is the capricious weather, refers to dash demands of the customers. It means they are asking about something which is in some figure of a speech which is behind consumer in the capricious weather. So they are asking which figure of a speech is there in consumer in the capricious weather. Also they're asking about the reference of it to the demands of the customers, that how does it define the consumers or the customers demands. Now, obviously, if I say the consumer is the capricious weather, I told you that capricious weather means when a consumer changes his behavior uh, unexpectedly or suddenly. So that is capricious weather. Whereas weather is actually the atmosphere, or the you can say the type of weather which is there, whether it is sunlight, monsoon, or whatever. So that is known as weather. Okay, the situation of the temperature and all, that is called weather. Okay, capricious means changeable. So if we say that capricious weather, it means that changeable uh, weather, but they are talking about capricious weather which has some idiomatic meaning, that is the mood changing, or the sudden mood changing, or the behavior changing suddenly. So here they have used this capricious weather as the metaphor. Okay, so according to this is metaphor. Wavering means wavering demands of customers which are changing. Okay, they are not same, they are not consistent, they are changing. So according to this, C is the correct answer. Now if we see another figure of speech is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia means to make sounds, when sounds are made, to make sounds. Okay, for example, if I say the cat mews, so that is onomatopoeia. Okay, and simile, when we compare two things with each other with the help of like and as. So simile means when we compare using like and as uh, phrases. Okay, like and as conjunction. Whereas metaphor, in case of metaphor, when we uh, give some another name to something else, comparing without using like or as, without using like or as. Okay, so this is the difference between simile and metaphor. Anaphora is actually when we repeat the same word uh, in the beginning of each and every line. Okay, for example, if you recite any poem, there happens many times the same phrase is, or the same word is spoken again and again, which is repeated, that is called anaphora. Okay, that is also the figure of speech. Oscillating means wigwag, when something it swings, that is oscillating. For example, you must have seen pendulum that oscillates in a watch or the wall clock. Okay, so that is oscillation. Now according to this, the correct answer will be option number C. Okay, that will be option number C. That is, it is metaphor, and they and the another in the another blank the word wavering will come. Okay, so the correct sentence will be, the metaphor in consumer is the capricious weather refers to the wavering demands of the customers. Okay, so according to this, C is the correct answer. Okay, now we have done 10 questions till now of two passages, that is passage number 1 and passage number 2. Now we'll do the passage number 3. Okay, and after that, first of all, we'll read passage number 3, and after that, we'll discuss each and every question based on this passage. So now we'll start reading passage number 3, and after that, we'll do questions based on this passage. Okay, so let us first start reading this passage number 3. Since the worldwide inoculation process is going strong. Now, inoculation, what is the meaning of inoculation? Uh, you must have seen the time of corona pandemic, and you know well that at that time vaccination were made for the corona, or for the removal of this corona. Okay, so, or yeah, you can say the uh, you can say this to making some immunity against this corona. Now what happened? Inoculation is actually a process in which a pathogen is introduced, and or antigen is introduced to make the um, you can say antigen for something, or you can say the act of producing which stimulate the production of antibodies, that is the immunity against something. Okay, that is called inoculation. Process is going strong. Vaccine diplomacy has become a hot topic. Now what happened? Vaccine diplomacy. Now diplomacy is actually the talks, or the conference, or you can say the consultation. Diplomacy is a part where a person shows skills of his talking something or saying something which do not hurt, uh, which does not hurt the person, but it is actually the talks which is going on. Okay, that became the hot topic. In their quest of ensuring vaccine security, a report by the New York Times based on the data on vaccine contracts compiled by Duke University shows that the advance purchase contracts made by some advanced countries for potential vaccines would vaccinate their population many times. It means they some countries were there who had taken advance and purchased contracts in advance, which can produce vaccines in such a bulk that can you can say that can provide vaccines, or that can vaccinate many people, or you can say the population, or the double or many times in their population. Okay, it means many people. The European Union two times, the United States and the United Kingdom four times. So they have said that the European Union, they claimed that after the production of vaccination, they can vaccinate their two times of their the people, equal to two times of their population, whereas United States and United Kingdom, they said four times of their population, and Canada six times. Canada claimed that uh, they can vaccinate the number of people which is equal to six times of their population. Okay, the expectation that an early vaccination will bring back normalcy and required push to the economic growth fueled many advanced countries to engage in vaccine battles. So uh, the expectation that after vaccination everything will become normal as it was in the past at the time of pandemic. So they give advance to many countries, and their economic growth has been fueled means when something is encouraged. Okay, the arguments of public good and global cooperation have gone out of the window now. It means people, they were just um, you can say whatever the people were thinking about it, whatever the people were chit chatting about, that what will happen, the vaccine will made or not. So that was not the part of thing. Now it had disappeared, because now that does not matter. Okay, while advanced countries have turned their back on the need of poor countries to access COVID 19 vaccines. Now, what happens? These advanced countries, or the developed countries, they have turned their back. It means they rejected or denied to help poor countries to access COVID 19 vaccines. India has displayed empathy. Now, India is a country who showed empathy. Empathy means the ability to feel uh, like what other feels, or to understand the emotions of the others, so to their needs. So they showed empathy to their needs. It means the needs of the poor countries. India has taken a position that is significant percentage of the approved doses will be permitted for exports, because India has developed the vaccine. So what India did, uh, it had exported various doses of vaccinations to various countries, including those poor countries as well, while it exports to neighboring countries will be under grant mode. Initial shipment of vaccines to least developed countries, it means which to those developed countries which are least developed, will be free of cost, and they also and India, it has provided these vaccines free of cost. And shipments of vaccines from India have already started reaching different parts of the developing world. While India is in its first phase of vaccination to cover healthcare workers, exports from India are helping other countries also in initiating phase on their vaccination program. Now, what happened? As we know well, that vaccination was done in several phases. In the first phase, the vaccination was provided to those who were health workers, okay, and healthcare workers. And at the same time, as it has exported vaccines, so the vaccination was started or initiated in those countries as well. a gesture well appreciated globally. And this act of India was really appreciated globally. It means everybody was praising this step from India. In a democracy, democracy means a country where everything is done for the people, to the people, and by the people. One can expect the backlash of sending vaccines. Backlash of sending vaccines means the reactions of the people against some act. So it is normal that this can be seen abroad without vaccinating its population. So obviously the people of India, they were just, uh, you can say they were just criticizing the Indians because they have sent the vaccines to, they have exported the vaccines, whereas they have not completely vaccinated their own country. So this was criticized, but in India only. Whereas this exporting of vaccine, it was praised globally, but it was not appreciated in India. Okay. Nevertheless, India's approach only reinforces the need of having coordinated global efforts in bringing COVID-19 under control. So, India's approach was only, whereas obviously it has been praised all over the world, but not in India. No, in India, many people were there who were criticizing, just because, nevertheless, and not taking these things into mind. India's approach was only to reinforce, you can say, support or strengthen the number of vaccines and have coordination global efforts and bringing COVID-19 under control. It means they did not show nationalism. Nationalism means loyalty towards own country. In fact, they thought that this requirement of COVID-19 vaccines or the corona vaccines, this is actually the coordination. This required the coordination among all the nations. This is not to be done national on the national level. So they just wanted to take under 19 under control, because if they did not do that, that will obviously, that was ruining the world. This response manifests India's unstinted commitment. Unstinted means which was praised. Okay, to global development, and has consolidated its name as the world's pharmacy. And this approach was really appreciated globally, and India was given the title that is the world's pharmacy. The attitude of India towards vaccinating the populations in the poorer countries, has generated discussion in the richer countries about the necessity for more proactive measures. So, as India, it has provided vaccinations to those poor countries. This was the, you can say, talk in the developing countries. It was like the discussion of the matter of the discussion in the countries who were developed, and it also instigated them, motivated them to make new vaccines or new products and roll out vaccines to the developed nations. And they also made new products or the new vaccines for the developing nations. Okay, so this is a very important passage, and also a very interesting passage, as we have seen the scenario in our past. At the time of pandemic, we have also seen all these things in news. We also know the facts that were going on, and we know well that corona vaccines, they were exported from India to various countries, and it was really appreciated globally. But obviously, in India only, there were many criticizers who were criticizing that, but you cannot do anything for them. Okay, so now let us do the questions based on this passage. The first one is, which of the following best describes the purpose of this passage? To encourage vaccine nationalism and discourage global cooperation. Now, if you see the passage, is it encouraging nationalism and discouraging global cooperation? No. If you see this line, India's approach only reinforces the need of having coordinated global efforts and bringing COVID-19 under control. And also, uh, it was not taken nationalism. It means, nationalism means if one is loyal to his own country only, and he does not want to support globally. Whereas in this passage we have seen that though uh, in India, only the first phase people they were vaccinated, and at the same time, vaccines were exported to various other countries. So it means India has shown the uh, global cooperation, not only the nationalism. Okay, so they discouraged nationalism. In fact, they have encouraged global cooperation. So, according to this, B is the correct answer. And various options are there which can justify this, that India has displayed to their needs. India has taken a position that significant percentage of approved exports, while exports to neighboring countries will be under the grant mode. Initial shipment of vaccines, okay, and you can say while India is in first phase of vaccination to cover healthcare workers, exports from India are helping countries initiating phase on their vaccination program. Okay, so according to this, yes, we can say that India did not show nationalism at that time. In fact, it showed uh, cooperation, global cooperation at that time, because that was the requirement. Therefore, according to this, B is the correct answer. To encourage poor countries and discourage advanced countries, no. India had obviously encouraged everyone. In fact, everybody was encouraged to make vaccines. To encourage India to provide vaccines to poor nations, no, nobody had encouraged India. In fact, it is India only who helped the entire globe. Okay, so option B is the correct answer according to the passage. Now let us move to the next one. The term inoculation process used in the passage means production and distribution of vaccines, global struggle for vaccines, pharmaceutical production of vaccines, and artificially inducing immunity. So, what is the meaning of inoculation? As I told you, that inoculation process is a process of introducing a pathogen or antigen to stimulate the production of antibodies. Therefore, it is artificially inducing immunity. Therefore, the correct answer will be option D. Now, let us move to the next question. Advanced purchase contracts of vaccines by developed countries are premised on the hopes that. Now, if you see this one, uh, they were given advanced the expectation that here the expectation that in early vaccination will bring back normalcy and required a push to economic growth fueled many advanced countries to engage in vaccine battles. Okay, so this was the requirement, this was the expectation by doing this, that they were hoped to make vaccines. Okay, vaccination will restore normalcy and thus economic recovery. Vaccination will bring back parts to nations. Vaccination will promote global well-being and growth. Vaccination will protect the health of the world population. No, it was written directly in that line that it was expected that vaccination will restore normalcy and thirst economic recovery, means fueled economic recovery. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is A. Okay, this is directly given in the passage. Now let us move to the next question, that is question number 14. The author cautions that India's approach in vaccine uh, distribution have negative repercussions among. Now, India's approach of exporting vaccination, this was criticized by whom? The author wants to ask this. People from advanced countries? No, actually, advanced countries they were just appreciating India. Okay, or this is a step of India. People from poor countries? No, poor countries they were getting vaccinations. They were also appreciating India. People from developing countries, people from India. No, actually, this step of India was appreciated globally, whereas it was criticized in its own country or in its own. Therefore, the correct answer is people from India. Only they were the criticizers, not the entire world, because they thought that. They are providing vaccines to other countries without vaccinating all the people of their own country. Okay, now let us move to the next question. This is question number 15. Among sustainable development goals, that is SAGs, the third goal ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Which of the sentences from the passage reflects the reversal of this sag? The arguments of public good and global cooperation have gone out of the window now. Advanced countries have turned their back on the need of the poor countries to access COVID-19 vaccines. The advance purchase contracts made by some advanced countries for potential vaccines would vaccinate the population many times. Now, among sustainable development goals, the third goal, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. How can we think this is right? So all the options are the same, which are answering the question. So option D is the correct answer to this question. Now, I hope you have understood all these uh, questions. This is up to question number 15. So, till now, we have already done this part number 1. So, part number 1 has been completed of 2021 examination. Now, in the another part, we'll be doing more questions based on this CLAT 2021. It means if you see this one, this is CLAT 2021 solved question paper. So till now we have done part 1, and as you know well that this contains directions for 1 to 30. It means up to now we have done 15 questions in part 1, and in part 2 we'll be doing more 15 questions more, and that those will begin from in part number 2. Those will begin from 16th question, or you can say the fourth passage. Okay, so now the rest of the part will be doing in passage number 2, sorry, part number 2 of the CLAT 2021. So I hope you have understood each and every question, each and every passage very well, and now you know how to solve these type of passages. Also, what you can do, you can simply go to the questions without reading the passage, and you can go through the passage after reading the question with the help of the keywords. That will definitely help you out in solving those passages with the help of keywords, and that will also make your time less. But because these passages are not very difficult, you need to read them entirely, because after that what you can do, you can easily answer the questions without going back to the passage as well, because these questions are very very easy. And if once you have read the entire passage, you know the meaning of the entire passage, this will be very very easy for all of you to do these passages. Okay, I hope you have understood the entire passage, or entire meaning of the passages, and each and every question in detail. So now I'm closing this session, and in the next session we'll discuss part number 2 of the same passage. Okay, thanks to you.